So up until now, what's your biggest success in the history of Leapfunder?
Well, it depends what you call success. We don't.
Well, the largest amount of funding that any startup has raised on your platform.
That's absolutely not a success for us. So
okay, well, what's the biggest one?
We do not. You can look it up on our website. We do not care whether a round is big or small, because it entirely depends on what the stage that company is at. A company that's just started, that's worth something like $1 million, should only be raising 50,000 if they can. If they can, they should never be raising $500,000 because they're giving away a third of their company. And it's so we don't care whether your rounds are big or small. We don't care whether you raise them quickly or slowly. All of that is totally irrelevant. And also we've set up the economics of our company so that it's irrelevant to us actually. And so we never call that a success, and we don't treat a customer with a big round that much different from a company with a customer.
But if I were you, I would be advertising. Hey, look, startup X just raised X million amount of money. I mean, like Bolt Mobility, now Etergo with their app scooter, they raised like 1.1 million, and that was their first angel round. I mean, this is something that I would advertise, right? Why don't you do that?
No, we don't. We absolutely don't. That's not a success. I mean, it's impressive that they were able to do it
in a short amount of time as well, right?
And there's a lot of skill there in that company. So it's an important fact to note. But for us, it's not a fact worth advertising, nor anything else.
So what is your biggest success? What do you think is your most, the startup that you like most, maybe?
Success will almost, if we ever talk about our biggest success, it will be a company where the entrepreneur and the investors did well, right? We have two customers, angels and entrepreneurs. Now,
can you name one?
If they succeed and do well, right, then it's a success.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to name one, right? Are you going to name one?
One company? No, I wouldn't name one company because because there are too many of. I back all our companies equally, right? So there are quite a lot of companies that are really very successful. I think probably a good dozen of them now have raised good A rounds, and a lot of them have gone international. Quite a few of them actually could be cash neutral if they chose to, but they're still growing very rapidly. And there's a good couple of dozen that are worth north of 10 million.
Okay, sounds reasonable.
That's pretty reasonable, and the portfolio.
No unicorns yet, right? I mean,
no unicorns yet. Might be too early for that anyway. Maybe we'll never have unicorns, but we're 4 years old, and we say to people, expect company. Given that we do pre-seed and seed, so really early stage funding,
high risk,
very high risk, but also very long time to cash. So you're thinking 7 years, but you're thinking multiples of 60 or 70. So you have to wait 7 years, but you get a multiple of 60 or 70.
So we have to wait 3 years for the first real big exit?
We're actually realizing our first cash probably this month, but it's only a small amount. A small exit that's taking place in the portfolio. But it's that's our first cash from. We'll also get options in all the companies. So there's a percentage of the cash, but we also get options to invest in the company, and some of those options are generating some cash this month.
Okay, congrats.
That's one of the reasons why we don't think big rounds are more important than small rounds, is because companies.
The upside is as big as it
the upside
as it
for
gets.
us is the same. So because the options upside is the same, it doesn't depend on the size of that round.
So you just mentioned you're 4 years old. You have a bit of a history in corporate venturing, M&A. So how did you wind up in angel investing? How did you start?
Well, it started with my being a freelance M&A consultant for a while, working mostly for Philips, where I used to work. And in that period, I was offered jobs, fundraising jobs, smaller fundraising jobs for startups, which I was unable to take because was unable to accept those jobs because the total amount is too small. And if you put your fee hour by hour against that total amount, it doesn't work economically.
Yeah.
So the notion came about that perhaps we should have a standard contract and a standard transaction structure so that you can give some advice to the company and then all the transaction execution is just automated. So you can do the trajectory in a highly professional manner and give guidance, but without having to be there yourself all the time. And that would make it economically viable. And that's where it started. So basically from handmade transaction consulting into let's automate and standardize these transactions.
So cut out the middleman, cut out the paperwork, like any startup, right? I mean, you're a startup basically as well.
We are a startup, yes.
So, a bit weird maybe, but I haven't seen any other, well, let's call it crowdfunding platform because that's a general term, but angel communities, like your other competitors, joining accelerators. So you've joined Startupbootcamp in 2016, 2015?
No,
somewhere around that time?
2014.
Even 14 back then. So why did you join Startupbootcamp?
Well, I had a business relationship with them already. And
your first round came from Startupbootcamp startup, right? That you did publicly?
No,
Bazoo?
our first round was our own. We did our own seed funding through.
Like I said, your first public one to the public audience.
Yes, that's probably right. They had a role in that. Our philosophy is that we develop our product in direct response to our customers, to the users.
The lean startup philosophy, right?
The lean startup philosophy. So the 73 investors in Leapfunder at the moment, people who've invested in Leapfunder, angels who've invested in Leapfunder, they're called the Foundersclub. They actually think,
really?
Yes, and they do think
like the Breakfast Club almost.
Yes, they do think of themselves as the owners of it, the people that run it.
Oh, really?
And
do you take 73 calls a week as well about your business, or?
No, but I take not 73, but so one or two of them are very active, and I speak to them on a weekly basis, and some of them I speak every quarter, every 6 months. It's very difficult to speak to them on the phone, so it's often conference calls or just an email. But they will express an opinion. They will say, "I don't like this screen. Can we make it blue? Or can we? I need an overview of that, of this, of such and so." And a feature like that will go on the list. And that's pretty much the fastest way to get anything implemented at Leapfunder. If Foundersclub member shouts out, "I need this button in a different color," it's almost certainly going to be a different color unless something prevents it. So, so we develop everything in response to a direct response to our investors and our startups. And so for us to have an environment to start a bootcamp where we're sitting in between the startups and the investors is an ideal environment to learn and to evolve the product. And we also were often asking ourselves, should we have some kind of strategic relationship with the Startup Bootcamp worldwide? And we couldn't figure out a strategic relationship, but then the quarter dropped, then why don't we just do it the regular way? You apply for the program, we accelerate you, and then we're shareholder and alum, and then that's it. It's just a known relationship. Yeah. So we did it in a standard way.
But if I'm looking right now, I mean, 2 or 3 of the startups who are having live rounds are from Startup Bootcamp.
Yeah, we do a lot of Startup Bootcamp. That's right.
So yeah, maybe even half already. You know, so it's a really close relationship, right?
Yeah, it's a close relationship. We have a close relationship with all the accelerators, to be honest, and those are always productive. And we integrate with, in Berlin and in the Netherlands, we integrate with their programs. We often take care of the finance training, just teaching the basics of startup finance. And that's a universal language, right? It's just shares, convertibles, debts, how does it work, shareholders,
yada, yada, yada. Yeah.
The usual stuff.
Yeah.
And we
but maybe new to a lot of these startups, right? These founders, they've never heard that before.
It is new, and it's the kind of thing where if somebody just tells you the basics, then that saves a lot, right? Because if you have to find it out during a negotiation, you're usually too late, right? And you've already run into mistake number 73 before you even heard about it. So we work closely with almost all the accelerators in that way.